I'm Alina Rain. I work with trauma patterns through the nervous system, the body, and the subtle layers that hold the experience beneath conscious thought. I have been a Reiki master teacher for over 13 years, using energy work as a stabilizing and regulating support, not as an escape from reality. I also work with tarot as a reflective tool to help you bring subconscious patterns into awareness so they can be worked with directly instead of unconsciously driving behavior. My approach is practical, trauma informed, and paced to what the system can actually handle. No forcing, no bypassing. This is part of a larger conversation about managing flashbacks. We are starting with orientation, safety, and grounding, and I will continue with part 2, where we go deeper into how to work with these steps in real life and how to build capacity so those flashbacks lose their grip over time. So we were left off yesterday at step number 7, which is grounding the body and the immediate environment. At this point, the system has enough orientation to tolerate contact with sensation, not analysis, not in the mind, but sensation in the body. Flashbacks pull attention inward and backward. Grounding brings it outward and downward, into weight, into pressure, into contact. You are not trying to relax, you are trying to locate yourself. Start with what is simplest and most reliable, which is gravity. Feel your feet, not conceptually, physically. Notice the pressure where they meet the floor. Press them down if that helps. Let the floor push back. If standing feels like too much, then sit. Hand on something solid nearby, a chair, a wall, the ground. Touch tells the nervous system where the edges of the body are. Trauma blurs those edges. Grounding redraws them. Let your eyes move very slowly around the space, not scanning for threat, just noticing. Colors, shapes, light, textures, objects that belong to your present life. This is not distraction, this is orientation through the senses. If your breath is shallow or fast, do not force it to change, just notice it. Then, if possible, let the exhale lengthen slightly. Not deep, not dramatic, just longer out than in. A longer exhale signals to the system that mobilization can soften. If at any point sensation feels too much, back off. Grounding is not about flooding the body. It is about titration, small amounts of contact, then pause, then more. If you are teaching the system that being in the body this is teaching your system that being in the body does not automatically mean danger. This step helps discharge excess activation that has nowhere to go. It gives the nervous system a place to land, a physical reference point that exists only now. You are not trying to feel better. You are trying to feel here, right now. And when the body feels here, even a little, the past loosens its grip. Okay. Hello. We are talking about steps on how to manage flashbacks, the feeling of overwhelm. And we are going to take a little bit of a break right now. If you have questions, leave them in the chat. I will get to them after I'm done with teaching mode. Hello to the new people joining. So I'm just balancing the energies because this, every time I speak here in teaching mode, it's also a transmission. Just feeling what's necessary. For me and the collective that is here, or that will listen at some point in the future. So let your breath move naturally. You don't need to fix it. Just slowly, as much as you can, make contact with your own breath, with your own body. Stay at the edge of the uncomfortable sensation. You don't need to go in if that is too much for you right now. Maybe things get activated within you. It's just part of the process of healing. Things that get released, that need to release, that need to move, that's okay. You don't need to make meaning of them right now. You just need to be with the sensations as much as you can closely get into them. Stay at the edge and breathe. Feel your bones or your sit bones, your legs. Maybe you can let your shoulders a little bit relax. Whatever you can to be more at home in your body right now. And if things need containment, that's okay too. We will practice containment at some time. Just one more breath or two. There's no need to rush. Maybe there's a lot moving right now. It's just making more space within you. I think we're ready for the next step. Step number 8. Release the pressure to fix or understand anything. When a flashback is active, the mind often tries to solve it, figure it out, make it stop, extract meaning, decide what it says about you, your healing, your process. That impulse makes sense. Control once felt like safety. But in this state, problem solving adds a load to an already overwhelmed and overloaded system. So this step is about letting go of the demand for resolution. You remind yourself that nothing needs to be understood right now. Nothing needs to be healed right now. Nothing needs to be decided right now. The goal in this moment is not insight, it's not meaning, it's stabilization. Trauma prevented you to believe if you think hard enough, prepared hard enough, stay vigilant enough, you can prevent pain. That strategy once kept you alive, but it does not regulate a flashback. A flashback resolves through the body, not the mind. So you give yourself explicit permission to pause the meaning making. I do not need answers right now. I can come back to this later. This moment is about safety, not clarity. This is not avoidance, this is pacing. Integration only happens when the nervous system has enough capacity to metabolize the experience. Forcing insight during activation can deepen the spiral and reinforce the belief that distress equals danger. Let the questions wait. Let the story wait. Let the analysis wait. If guilt comes up, if a part of you says you are being lazy or responsible by not fixing this immediately, recognize that voice as another protector. It learned that vigilance was necessary. Thank it silently and keep the slow pacing. You are not abandoning the work. You are choosing the right timing, the right pace. This step often brings a small drop in intensity, not relief, but space. Enough space for the system to keep settling instead of escalating. You are allowed to take care of your nervous system without turning the moment into a project, and that permission is part of the healing. Okay, so again, we're going to take a break. Even talking about these things can activate things within us. So before we move to the next step, let's make sure we integrate the information and what was transmitted here. It can activate the mind, it can activate the mind going into the problem solving. Take as much time with this information as you need. Pause the video if you need. Use movement, use sound, breath, whatever comes handy to you right now. You get to just be in this moment, right here, right now. Whatever triggered the sense of overwhelm, the flooding, the activation in your system, you can take a break from it right now. Reground yourself, bring your awareness back to the present moment. Right here, right now, you are safe. You do not need to give meaning to what is happening right now. You just need to let things move as they need. The body has its own intelligence. It just needs the space to complete the cycle. And one more breath. Maybe a hand placed on your sternum. If any activation is within you right now, just stay at the edge of the sensation. And within your own pace, within your own speed, notice how it is slowly decreasing. Take as much time as you need. And even as you go throughout your day, you can always take that sacred pause to take one breath, one moment, to get back to yourself. Let's go to step number 9. Choose one small stabilizing action. After orientation, reassurance, grounding, and pacing, the nervous system is often ready for something very simple and very concrete. Not a breakthrough, not a solution, a small action that signals continuity and care. Trauma often rewires an all or nothing response. Either freeze completely or push to fix everything. This step interrupts that pattern by choosing something manageable, contained, and not dramatic. You are not asking what will make this go away. You are asking what would support the system right now. Small actions work because they are doable when capacity is low. They do not overwhelm the system with choice or expectation. They create a sense of movement without urgency. So drink a glass of water, change your physical position, change your posture, wrap yourself in something small, in something warm. Step outside for fresh air, sit or lie down. The specific action matters less than the message it sends. I'm attending to myself. I'm allowed to respond to my needs. I can take care of this moment. These actions anchor regulation into behavior, not just awareness. They help the nervous system track that care is not only internal but lived experience. If indecision shows up, if you feel stuck trying to choose the right thing, that is another trauma response. Perfection once felt necessary. You can let it go here. Pick the simplest option available. If it doesn't help, then pick another. This is not about efficiency, this is about responsiveness. Each small action reinforces agency, not the big performative kind, but the quiet kind that tells the system it is not helpless anymore. You are not fixing the past, you are stabilizing the present, and that is enough for now. Okay, again, one small break to let the information integrate. We're integrating it into deep awareness, deep visceral awareness. This is how embodiment works. It takes time. The body moves at a slower pace than the mind. So take your time with it. We are conditioned often by everything outside of us to rush. But right now, it is okay, it is safe to slow down. And that often gives us access to more resources than we thought possible. Slowing down brings spaciousness. Slowing down helps you be more grounded in the present moment. That often comes with guilt or shame in our society, but it is an essential part of the human experience to slow down, to allow ourselves to process, to not disconnect anymore through our various coping mechanisms. It gives us the space to make better choices. To get our bodies and our nervous system present enough and our minds still enough to choose what the next step is with clarity. Rest is productive. Slowing down is productive. It saves time down the road. It saves a lot of time and a lot of grief. So allow yourself to have that. Allow yourself to reconnect with yourself. Whatever you want, whatever you desire. It all starts with slowing down. and choose one small step of action that is available to you right now. Just sitting, listening, and being present has made today easier to move through. Thank you. You're very welcome. I'm glad it helped. We often forget how important it is. And there is a lot of resistance within us to do this. As much as possible, let that resistance drop. And let whatever needs to move through, move through. And if things feel too big, then slow down a little bit more. Drop by drop, step by step. If your mind is active, just observe it. You'll notice that when you observe your mind, the thoughts naturally come to a stop. Just observe, don't get attached to the story your mind is telling you right now. Create that distance, that space between you and your mind. And if you need further presencing, go into the environment, or maybe give your body some support. Whatever feels good. Whatever feels good is the right thing to do. Okay. One more breath, and then we'll go into step number 10. So step number 10 is reframe what this moment means. When the intensity begins to soften, even slightly, the mind often rushes with judgment. That this should not be happening, that you should be further along, that this means something is wrong with you, you're healing on your capacity to function. This step is about stopping that narrative before it takes root. You remind yourself that a flashback is not a failure of regulation. It is a sign of a system that learned to survive under pressure and is now surfacing material that wants integration. Your nervous system is not betraying you, it is communicating. What you just experienced is not regression, it is contact. Contact with something that was once too much to feel, now emerging because there is enough safety to notice it. That does not make it pleasant, but it does make it meaningful. You are not broken because this happened. You are responding appropriately to stored survival energy. This reframing matters because shame reactivates the threat response. Compassion supports completion. How you interpret the experience influences how your system stores it afterwards. So you speak to yourself with accuracy. This was my nervous system doing its job. This does not define me. This will not undo my work. You are allowed to need support after this. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to move slowly. Flashbacks resolve not only through regulation, but through how they are held afterward. When they are met with self-attack, the system learns that activation equals danger. When they are met with understanding and self-compassion and self-acceptance, the system learns that activation can move through without punishment. This is how trust rebuilds. You do not need to extract a lesson. You do not need to turn this into growth. You need to let your system register that it made it through. That registration is what changes the pattern over time. This moment is not a problem to solve, it is a passage that is already closing, and you are still here. Okay. Again, we're slowing down deeper, going deeper into presence. Drop your shoulders, shake your body if you need to. What needs to move? Is there a movement? Is there a gesture? Maybe that needs to be done here. Go into the senses, not the meaning making yet. Just notice with precision, name them. There is a tightness in my gut. I feel my breath maybe is stuck. And I'm here, holding space for all of that. Maybe there's static in your hands. You can gently massage your hands with whatever pressure you need. Maybe some tension in your shoulders. You can roll your shoulders. Whatever you need. Whatever feels good is what you need. One more breath, and we move to the next step. Step 11. Learn to recognize what sets these states in motion. Flashbacks do not come out of nowhere. They are responses, not defects. They are your nervous system reacting to cues that resemble earlier danger, even when the resemblance is subtle, symbolic, or completely non-obvious to the conscious mind. Triggers are not always dramatic. Often they are relational. Maybe a tone of voice, a look, a demand, a pause, being rushed, being ignored, being seen too much or not at all. Sometimes they are internal, a thought, a memory fragment, a body sensation, a shift in energy. Learning your triggers is not about control. It's about pattern recognition. When you begin to notice what reliably precedes a flashback, you restore predictability to a system that learned the world was random and unsafe. Predictability reduces threat. This does not mean you must avoid everything that activates you. Avoidance is not always possible, and it is not the goal. The goal is choice. Some people are unsafe for your nervous system. Some environments drain your capacity. Some behaviors pull you into old roles without your consent. You are allowed to limit contact with those things. You are allowed to leave. You are allowed to prepare. When avoidance is not possible, preparation matters. Using these steps before, during, and after known triggers is not a weakness, it is maintenance. Trauma healing is not about never being activated, it's about shortening the distance between activation and orientation. Each time you identify a trigger without shaming yourself, you reduce its power. Each time you choose safety instead of endurance, you update the system's expectations. You are not fragile because you have triggers. You are informed. and informed systems recover faster. One more breath, slowing down even further. This is your invitation for reflection. Maybe there's enough spaciousness inside you to better understand these triggers, what got activated, what was the start point, what happened before, what does this remind you of. And do this if you have enough space inside of you. If you need to repeat any of the steps, that's okay too. Engage in this reflection only when your system has calmed down, when you have space, when you have capacity, when you have bandwidth. And if nothing comes up, that's okay too. Just the invitation to reflect. To look back. To be aware. To look to what might interrupt the pattern. What might you need to protect yourself? How can you prepare? If there's actions that you can take, if there's conversations you need to have, if there's boundaries you need to set. If there's renegotiations that you need to make. And not all the time you will be able to find solutions in the short term, and that is okay too. But the awareness does help you prepare for the long term, and for the journey, and for the process that needs to happen here. Maybe you need to reach out to other people. Maybe you need to reach out for support. Friends, community, family, therapists, healers, that's okay too. Just noticing for now. And we go to step 12. Explore what the flashback is connected to when you have capacity. Not in the middle of it, not as an emergency task, only when your system is regulated enough to be curious without collapsing. Flashbacks are not random malfunctions, they are signals. They point backwards to experiences that were never fully processed, never witnessed, never given context or care. They are the psyche's way of saying something old is still unfinished. This step is not about digging for memories. It is about listening for themes, watching for patterns. What does this state actually remind you of? Not intellectually, but emotionally. The age, the role, the familiar helplessness, shame, fear, or longing. Often what returns is not a specific event, but a developmental wound. Being alone too early, being responsible too young, being unseen, unprotected, or punished for having needs. Flashbacks often circle unmet needs rather than single incidents. When you approach this with curiosity instead of judgment, the system begins to trust that you are not here to override it or force insight. You are here to understand. And this is where validation matters. Not fixing, not reframing, but validation. That really was too much. No one should have had to handle that alone. It makes sense that this still lives in me. That validation is corrective. Many trauma symptoms persist not because the events happened, but because the experience was never recognized as real or harmful. Flashbacks also point forward. They reveal what is still needed now: safety, support, rest, protection, expression, limits, or repair. The past is not resurfacing to trap you, it is resurfacing to be integrated. This step is not meant to be done alone if it overwhelms you. Some material requires relational containment. Knowing when to pause or seek support is part of the integration, not failure. You are not obligated to extract meaning from every flashback, but when meaning emerges naturally without force, it can guide healing in precise and practical ways. This is how symptoms become information instead of enemies. So I feel not much is needed for this step. Just some rebalancing. And we have one more step, which is step 13. Commit to patience and realistic expectations about recovery. Healing from trauma or complex trauma is not a moment. It is not a breakthrough. And it is not a permanent state you arrive at and then keep. It is a process of gradual nervous system change that happens through repetition, consistency, repair, and time. Flashbacks do not mean you are failing. They mean your system is still unwinding patterns that were built over years, sometimes decades. De-adrenalization takes time. Learning safety takes time. Trusting the present takes time. Process in this work is uneven by design. You will have stretches of steadiness followed by unexpected drops. That does not erase the work that came before. It reflects how the nervous system learns, in layers, in cycles, with revisits. 2 steps forward and 1 step back is not regression, it is integration in motion. This step is about refusing the fantasy of a clean recovery. There is no finish line when triggers disappear and the body never remembers again. What changes is intensity, duration, and your relationship to the experience. And over time, flashbacks become shorter. They interrupt life less. You recognize them faster. You recover more gently. That is real healing, even if it does not look dramatic. So you stop using flashbacks as evidence against yourself. You stop measuring your worth or competence by how regulated you are on any given day. You treat yourself the way you would treat someone learning to walk again, with consistency, with patience, and without punishment. This work asks for endurance, not perfection. And the most important part of this step is simple. Do not shame yourself for having a flashback. Shame reinforces the very conditions that created them. You are not late, you are not broken, you are in a process that moves at the speed of safety. And that speed is not negotiable. Okay. So let's come back into the space, into the chat, into the conversation. I invite the space for interaction, the space for questions, the space for other themes that you might want to explore, and I can prepare something around that. It actually helps me a lot. And this particular theme we are discussing today, and we also discussed yesterday, came from somebody in the space, and I will upload it to YouTube. So anything you'd like to discuss around healing, around trauma, around recovery, around what you're struggling with in your life right now, please share.